Welcome back. We're going to start this session with forward Virasana. You'll need just a few props. I've got a bolster, a belt, a couple blocks, and I'm near the wall. So if you can move your mat near the wall, we may be using the wall for a little bit of support. So this is morning practice, so I'm glad you're with me, joining me. Let's get started. Before we start our practice, I wanted to let you know about my online programs and workshops. Whether you're new to Iyengar yoga and want to learn the basics in a systematic way, a seasoned practitioner looking to revisit the essentials, or a yoga teacher seeking inspiration, these programs and workshops are self-paced, allowing you to make consistent progress and revisit specific topics whenever you like. You can find the link in the description below. With that said, let's begin our practice today. All right, so separate your legs and bring your hands forward. I'm a little far forward or back, so I'm going to move myself back so my hands are on the mat and extend the arms forward. Just spread the fingers, press the heel of the hand down, and stretch out through all the fingers as you press into the mat and extend the arms. So we want to connect the arms, especially the outer arm to the outer shoulder, which will then connect to the side trunk. We want to lengthen the back, not only the middle of the back, but as you move your hips down, extend your side, your back waist corners forward. So you're getting maximum length. And then bring your head down. Take your hands now, press them down onto the floor. Keep the forearms lifted. Keep the elbows lifted. Tightening. And extend. And then moving over to the right side, bring your hands over. Start to turn the trunk over that front leg. Make sure that you keep this outer hip pinned down. So as you pin that hip down, extend forward. From that left hip moving down, extend your left arm. Use your right hand on the floor to balance you so that you're not lifting up through that side, but bring more balance to the back body. And then if you can release your head, release your head. You can also have a block there. And then come back to the center again. Forward Virasana. Using your hands to connect the arms back through the side trunk. Lengthening the back, moving the hips back, descend the thighs, descend the hips, the shins, the front of the ankles, extend the toes back. Stay with your breath. See how you can use the breath to lengthen the arms, open the armpit chest, so it's facing more toward the floor. Shoulder blades are moving down toward the floor and down towards your hips. And then lift your head, come up. I'm going to go to the other side now. So use your hands on the floor, turn the chest. So you want to have the trunk going right over the front thigh as much as possible. So use one hand on the floor so that you can position yourself and lengthen through this whole left side, as well as keep this left femur bone grounded. So the more I can ground that femur bone, the more I can then extend and lengthen through the back waist corner. Use the other hand. Turn the chest more. Broaden the back. Breathe into the back. And any hardness you feel there, soften it and move the chest toward the thigh. And then release, come back to the center. One more time. Just observe the difference between when you first went into this and now. If you have a little bit more openness through the chest, through the arms, more length through the side trunk. And with that, more breath. And then come up. Bring your feet together. Sit on your heels. Interlace your fingers, Baddhanguliyasana. Reach your arms up. Squeeze the fingers, pull the fingers away from one another as you move the arms in, broaden the upper back. Let yourself sit heavily on the heels, on the fronts of the ankles. If you need some support there, you can take a blanket underneath the fronts of the ankles or the feet, or sit on the bolster. Lift up, opening through the armpit chest, bring your arms back. And then change the cross on the fingers. Pressing out, inhale, lift up. So as your hips descend, as the thighs descend, you're still getting that length. You're connecting the upper arm into the shoulder girdle, and you're lifting up through the whole side trunk. Squeeze the fingers, pull the hands away from one another without moving them. Broadening the upper back. Feel that upper back, shoulder blades area. Lift the front chest. Reach the arms up. Stay with your breath. Observe what you feel. Press into the index finger, pressing that side of the hand up toward the ceiling. Bring the little finger side of the hand down. And then release. Bring your hands down, rest your palms. And then come into downward dog. Bring the hands to the front of the mat. Turn the toes under. Let's walk the hands back and bring the heels to the wall. So again, pressing the hands, lift up through the wrists, the forearms, and move back so that the chest is lifting and lengthening upward and moving back toward the thighs. Armpit area is moving toward the front of your thighs. As you press the heels, lift the toes. So come a little bit away so that you're on the mounds of the feet, pressing the heels, lift the toes up. Start to feel that action in the front of the thighs. Moving the thighs back. Move the hips back. And then step forward, coming into Uttanasana. Feet, hips width apart, beyond your fingertips, cup shape, so you're pressing down into the tips of the fingers. And as you do that, lift your chest. Now balance evenly on your feet. So be on the front of the foot, but also feel that weight in the heel. Bring your hips over your heels so you can feel the full weight. And as you do that now, pressing the fingers down, almost like you're pulling the fingers back, but you're not really pulling them. You're pressing and then lengthen the trunk forward. So press the fingers down, pulling back without lifting them. Lengthen the side trunk forward, concave the back. Legs are firm. Legs are connecting into the pelvis. As you move the hips back, lengthen the trunk. And then release the head. Take your arms out to the side. Release the head down toward the floor. So the crown of the head is facing the floor. Side ribs are moving down. Look up. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale, come up. Okay, let's take your feet closer to the wall now. Start with your feet a little bit away from the wall. And then come down. Have the hands on the floor. And take the heels all the way back. Now spread your legs a little bit wider. So you want a good distance between the legs. Lift up the arch, lift up through the inner legs. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Press your hands down and move your thighs back to the wall. As you move the thighs back to the wall, roll the inner thigh and the inner knee toward the wall. Move the inner knee and outer thigh to the wall. So almost like you're stapling the legs onto the wall. Press into the feet, lift up through the arch, lift up through the inner leg, move the thighs to the wall. Staple the legs to the wall. Keep the legs there, and now move the hands forward. You can feel that it becomes a little bit easier to use the hands to move the thighs back. So press into the hands, Lengthen forward. Keep lifting up through the arches. Be on the outer sides of the feet. Move the knees away from one another. Armpit toward the wall. And then move your hands back, underneath your shoulders. Look up. Take the hands back. Bring your head down onto the floor. Bring your hips a little bit away from the wall. And then walk your hands in, if that's manageable for you. Otherwise, keep the hands further out. Press your legs to the wall. And then walk the hands forward. One more time. This time, walk the arms forward. Even more. Downward dog. Your hips are come away from the wall this time to get your arms forward. Now, once you have that length, walk back a little bit until your legs touch the wall, using the wall to help you understand the backs of the legs, the spreading of the backs of the legs. Now extend the calf down toward the heel. Lift from back of the knee up, the upper back knee up to the backs of the thighs. And then come down, knees on the floor, toes together, come back into forward Virasana. Rest your head. Come up. Okay, now we're going to sit. Take one of your blocks. Sit on your block that's close to the wall. Your leg close to the wall. Sit on that hip. So I have my right leg parallel to the wall, and it's about a foot away. Have the foot of the top foot over the arch of the bottom foot. And here I've got a little bit of leeway to move that hip down, so I don't really have the block under that left sitting bone. So adjust your feet until you feel you can descend that hip a little bit. Thighs down. Bring your hands to the wall, coming into Bharadvajasana. So here we're going to use the wall to bring us away, keep us perpendicular. So in case you're too close and you're having to lean into the wall, just adjust your position so that you're about a foot away. You can use your hands, be on the fingertips, descend the hip, descend the thigh, the head of the femur bone. Inhale, lift. And as you start to turn and revolve the back trunk, turn the chest to face the wall. So a few attempts to do that. Lengthening up, drop your shoulders down. Lifting up through the back body, lifting up through the front body. Exhale, turn. Keep your knees, your thighs, your feet, and your hips all descending downward as you lift up, opposite. So the lower back is lifting, middle back, upper back, through the crown of the head. Each time, turning a little bit more, turn the chest toward the wall. And then release. Coming to the other side. So turn around. My left leg at the wall, about a foot away. The top foot is over the ankle of the bottom foot. Adjusting my hips, so this hip to be pressing down, and from that press, lift up. So using that foot to help you initiate that downward action, thigh descending, top of the buttocks descending, lower back lifting up. Use the fingertips. Keep the hands wide and bend the elbows. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, turn. So you're getting a rotation. You're rotating from the center of the back body, turning the rib cage, which then in effect turns the front chest. So bring those right back ribs in, turn the left chest. Maintain that little bit of leverage of the feet pressing down, the hips pressing down to help you access that spinal turn. Abdomen moving in, turn. Back ribs moving in, Exhale, turn. And then release. And then sit in Dandasana. So you can sit on your block. Extend the heels forward. Reach the arms up. So from here, spread the sitting bones, spread the pelvis, lower back, abdomen lifting. Bring the arms out to the side, and then rotate the arms so the shoulders are moving down. So you're not lifting the arms with the shoulders lifted. So turn the shoulder, turn the upper arm, shoulder blades moving down. Now, descend the thighs. Keep the thighs moving down. Feel the weight on both hips, the left sitting bone, the right sitting bone. See which one is even, which one is feeling more grounded. Sit evenly on both, lifting the lower back, and reach the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Look up at your hands. Reach the fingers up. And then bring the hands down. Interlace the fingers. Reaching up. So opening the armpit chest. Bring the upper back away from the wall. Move the shoulders back to the wall. So the chest is lifting. You're getting a little bit of extra curvature in the back there. And then come forward. Hold on to the toes, concave the back. Again, Urdhva Hastasana. Coming forward from the ribs, move the back in and come forward. Catch the toes, hold the toes, concave the back. Inhale, come up. Exhale, coming forward again. Hold on to the feet, lift up. Curve the upper back. Thighs descending. And then reach the arms up and bring the hands down. So now I'm sitting on my heels. We're going to go back into downward dog and then go into upward dog. So I want you to use that movement, the back body toward the front body. You can use both of your blocks. Bring them to the front of your mat. Have them on the lower height. Give you a little bit extra height when you go into this. Bring your hands onto the blocks. Come into a plank position. So from there, let's turn the blocks out so that you can use that to turn the hands and turn the shoulders. So instead of this, you're rolling the shoulders back, pressing the hands down, and then lifting the thighs up away from the floor. As you press the hands down, be on the toes, and now move on the toes. So just move the toes back and forth to move the body. So do that a few times. Turn all the toes under, shifting back and forth. Move your back ribs forward, lift your chest. Keep the thighs lifting. And then come back into downward dog. Make sure you have a good grip on those blocks. Turning the arms. Keep the wrists pressing down. Extending through the fingers. You're going to feel that in the upper arm, in the lower arm, in the front of the arm, from the wrist up to the elbow. And then coming back. Come onto your knees this time. Press the arms down. Now move the back ribs in, lift the chest up. So from the knees through the fronts of the thighs, pubic bone to the navel, to the chest. Lengthen. And now turn the toes under. Roll the shoulders back and lift the knees up. Tailbone moving in. Lift up through the lower back. Lift the chest. Lift the chin. And then coming back. Adho Mukha Svanasana with the hands turned out. Let's turn the blocks this time. Forward. Let's get rid of the blocks altogether. You can use the blocks forward if you want. This time have the hands forward, but we want to get that same rotation of the arms. So coming forward into that plank position, knees on the floor. Roll the inner arms, roll the shoulders, lift the chest. Use the knees on the floor to move the buttock forward and then lift the lower back, lift the chest. Press the hands down, lift the knees, lift the inner thighs, lift the sternum, lift the chest. And then coming back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Walk in, concave the back, hold the toes, back ribs in, look up. Pull the toes, but keep the arms straight. So you're pressing into the mounds of the toes, and you're just pulling up the big toe. So you're pulling it strongly away from the floor, so strongly that the arms are straight, back ribs are moving in. And then release. Hands on your hips. Inhale, come up. Okay, so stand with your left hip to the wall. Take your left foot back. Step your right leg forward. Now, I want you to walk in so your hip is at the wall. Take the block on the outer side of the right foot. Press into that back heel. Bring your hand onto your hip, and then from there, lengthen, extend. Bring the hand onto that block and turn the chest. Now, if that's difficult, then you can take the hand on the inside and turn the chest. Bring the hips towards one another and reach that arm up. So using the hip at the wall, using the back at the wall, turn the chest. And then come up. Step forward. Because we have the block there and we're so close to the wall, we'll just come up like that. Okay. Now bring the left leg forward. Step the right leg back. So starting with the hip toward the wall, chest lifting, back hand on the hip, shoulder moving back. You're going to extend, lengthen forward. As you lengthen forward, extend, hips, outer hip toward the wall, hip at the wall, moving toward the outer hip. You can either have the hand on the block, and the other hand on the wall, or take the hand, depending on how much space you have there, press the hand down and turn the chest. Reach the arm up. Keep the hip drawing back, and then come back. Step forward. Take your block away. Come with your feet just a little bit away from the wall. Drop your hips down. So you're going to come into Utkatasana now. Raise the arms up. Sit down into chair pose. Press the feet. Lengthen the lower back. Reach up through the sides of the trunk. Press yourself up. Do that a couple times. So moving down. Press up. Moving down. Stay with your breath. And then reaching up. Coming back to Prasarita Padottanasana, wide legs. Away from the wall now. But just taking the memory of the legs at the wall, spread the calves, spread the backs of the thighs. Shift the weight to the heels. Take your hands on your ankles this time. Pull onto the ankles, lengthen forward. And as you do that, lengthen the inner leg from the heel to the inner knee to the inner groin. Lengthen up. Now find your outer hips. Move down into the outer heels. Bend your elbows, release your head down, crown of the head facing the floor. Stay with your breath. Release the side ribs down. Release the neck. Bring the crown of the head onto the floor, if you have that length. If not, just have the head facing the floor. Stretch the toes forward. Stay with the weight on your heels. And taking the memory of the thighs pressing against the wall, move the front thigh toward the back thigh. Press against that imaginary wall. All right, and then bring your hands back onto the floor. Look up, concave the back, hands on your hips, and come up. Okay, bring your feet in. We're going to get a chair. I didn't ask you to get a chair, but if you have a chair and a bolster. Okay, so chair and a green mat, or if you have a blanket. I like to use the green mat just so that there's a little traction. We're going to go into shoulder stand. And you can bring the bolster here. If you don't have a chair, then you can use the blocks and just go into Setu Bandha. So I'll show both. If you're using the chair, just bring your legs over. Move your hips in. So I have most of my weight toward the back of the chair. Hold the back of the chair. So you're moving the calves down. Now get that lift to the back that we've been getting in our concave back position. Lift up and out. Press one foot against the back of the chair while you ease yourself down until you can feel the shoulders on the bolster. Rolling the shoulders under. Take your hands back on that chair rail and then slide down a little bit more so that you end up with your lower back, your sacral band, the bone across your lower back against that chair, and then extend the legs. So the shoulders are rolling under, shoulder blades are moving in, and you're extending the legs. So if you have a chair, you'll be in that position. If you don't have a chair, I will show you Setu Bandha with the bricks. If you don't have a folding chair. So that folding chair is handy because it has the bars underneath. Makes it a little bit easier. So if you have a bolster and you don't have that chair, you can just go onto the bolster and lay back over that bolster. You can have the blocks there for your feet. And then slide yourself down so your shoulders are on the floor, and then extend the legs. So the shoulders are rolled under, the chest is lifted, the eyes are moving down. Extend through the legs. So whether you're in this position or you're in Sarvangasana with the chair, be there, lift the chest, keep the legs active, extending through the legs. Pay attention to your breath. The breath relax. I'm going to show how to come out of the chair for those of you in the chair. Those of you in Setu Bandha, you can stay. So to come out of the chair is easy, but just come out slowly. Take your hands out from underneath, and just bring your feet onto the chair rim. Keep holding onto the chair legs. You can bring your feet onto the chair. And then lift your shoulders up. So we rolled the shoulders under before. Now to come out, you're going to slightly lift them so you can slide yourself down. And then you'll slide down onto that bolster, legs on the chair. Those of you, if you're in Setu Bandha, you're just going to roll to your side, bending your knees, and then you'll lift up. Okay, so you sit on your mat, have your bolster behind your legs, have your blocks, adjust your pelvis so that you're on the left and the right evenly, upper back, shoulders, and then extend the legs. Bend the knees and be right on the outer heels. You can take one of your blocks, bring it onto the abdomen. Just see how that feels. See if maybe you want to bring both of them on there. You have to adjust it so that the lower block is further up and the back block is further back toward the pelvis so it doesn't fall on you. And then just release your breath. And there you can start to pay attention to your breath. Aware of your inhalation, aware of your exhalation. A lot more because you can feel the blocks lifting and descending. See if you can just bring some regularity and smoothness to the breath. So it's not jerking. Do that by extending your exhalation. Continue observing your exhalation as long as you'd like, and then just come back into a balanced breath, allowing the breath to balance on its own. Namaste.